Hello and welcome back to this top 85 games for the BBC Micro Countdown. In at number 74 is a game called Ballistix. Now, this is an original game, albeit not originally developed for the BBC Micro. So, this game was released in 1989 by Superior Software in conjunction with Acornsoft for the Beeb, but it was actually a port from another game that came out in the same year, released for the Amiga and the Atari ST by the same name, Ballistix, from Psygnosis, and it was developed on that platform by Martin Edmondson. It was later ported to the Beeb by Peter Scott, as I say, in the same year. And one of the kind of interesting bits of trivia about the game is that rather distinctive piece of artwork there, which was produced by an artist called Melvyn Grant, it actually wasn't originally developed for the game. So it was first seen on the front cover of a Michael Moorcock novel, a science fiction novel called The Steel Tsar. That came out in, I think, 1981, and that's where that was what the artwork was originally produced for. But it had another outing when Judas Priest re-released their album Rock-a-Roller. So this wasn't on their original cover for that album. I think that had a bottle top on it or something similar. But on the re-release, they used this same piece of artwork from Melvyn Grant. And then finally, in 1989, when Psygnosis released Ballistix, they chose to use that piece of artwork again, and subsequently Superior Software as well. So there you go, a little bit of trivia about the artwork. It is a very distinctive bit of artwork, I think. I do really like it, and definitely as a child, that's what drew me to the game originally. So without further ado, let's dive in and have a look at Ballistix. Okay, here we are. Load up Ballistix, Superior Software and Acornsoft. There you go, my possibly two favourite companies for producing software for the Beeb. There's a little bit of an instruction opener there for Ballistix. And here we are. So you can see both Peter Scott there, who ported it to the Beeb, and Martin Edmondson, obviously, who originally developed it for the Amiga and the Atari. So this game could be played both against a fellow human or against the computer. We're obviously going to do a one-player game in this video. So what we'll do is, oh, now look at that. Isn't that not beautiful? I am an absolute sucker for a good piece of in-graphic splash screen. I love it. I think it looks great. And it's actually one of the things about this game that is really impressive. Actually, I think graphically, it's it is really very good. I'm going to slightly change the keys here because I find that if you're playing just as one player, the setup for the one player one is just slightly awkward. So just put some random keys in there. Okay, yep, we're good. Okay, here we go. Ballistix, one player. Oh, hang on. There we are. Okay, level one, password. Right, so here's the game. So basically, the idea is there's this red ball or puck, which you, as the as the player, have to get up to the other end of the screen and score a goal. And if you score 3 goals before the computer does, you win the match. So it's a little bit like if you've ever played table hockey, or air hockey as it's sometimes called. There we are. But obviously the difference is the crowd go wild there. The difference is that instead of sort of pushing it with your hand, you're controlling it with what I assume are the ballistics of the game name. So they're sort of little black balls that you fire from your cursor. Now, if you were playing this against another human player, they would be doing the same in reverse. But interestingly, when you play this against the computer doesn't actually do that. So there isn't another arrow, as you can see, being controlled by the computer. Instead, you're effectively competing against gravity. There you go, I've completed level 1. You're competing against gravity, and if you were to not do anything at all, the ball will just simply fall down to the bottom of the screen and almost invariably fall into the computer's goal. So you have to play with a certain amount of attention to the sort of physics of the game if you want to win, because you have to be careful. Yeah, you go. See, you have to be careful not to hit it too fast, because if you do and you miscalculate and you don't hit it into the goal, what will end up happening is it will bounce very, very quickly back down to the bottom of the screen, and of course the computer will invariably then score a goal. Now the levels get more complicated as you... Oh dear. See? Gravity was against me there. So yes, the levels get more complex as you progress. You'll get more and more of these dividers in the way. So you'll notice in the first level there wasn't anything in our way. But as the game goes along, you get more and more of these barriers. There you go, level 2 complete. There we are. See, we've now got even more in level 3. So it's yeah, it sort of increases on the sort of challenge front, but it's not so difficult that you can't get past the first couple of levels. Oh dear, this is where it's clearly going to start going a bit wrong for me. Now I have to say, as an adult, I'll be honest, I think that this game has become a bit more appealing to me. But I've put it in at 74 because, despite the fact that it is clearly a very well programmed game, you know, it's got great graphics. The physics of the game are really, really excellent. You know, the fact that it's able to simulate this kind of gravity effect, very, very clever programming going on behind the scenes, I'm sure. But I don't know, I think maybe it's got something to do with that cover art. I think when I first got this game as a child and I saw that front cover, I was expecting some kind of space alien extravaganza, and I think when I actually got this game, I don't know, there was just something about it that just didn't really sort of appeal. It was sort of halfway between pinball and a football game almost. And as you will notice on this channel, I am not a big fan of football games in general. So yeah, I don't know, I just didn't really get on with it so much as a kid. I mean, I appreciated it for its, you know, its graphics and its kind of interesting gameplay. It was very different. There we go, past level 3. It's very different from other games, and it is, you know, it's an original game, there's no question about that. But yeah, I never quite got on with it as a kid, and I think I also wasn't very good at it as a child, if I'm honest, as well. I've definitely got better at it over the years. You know, I'm actually on level 4 now, which I'm not doing too shabbily. I think there's about 30 levels in total on the BBC version. Oh dear, he's got stuck there. He's literally stuck. I wonder if I just leave it. Is it gonna... No, it's just gonna keep on bouncing, like perpetual motion. Okay, let's see if we can dislodge it. There we go. Oh, no, not quite, not quite. Come on. Oh, there we are. Yes, it's... Oh, wow, I was very lucky there. I thought the computer was definitely going to take that from me. Yeah, I think as an adult I appreciate the sort of physics of the game a bit more, and I don't find it at all frustrating to play. In fact, it's quite an enjoyable game overall. But yeah, I have to, when I make these sort of rankings, I base it not just on, you know, how I feel about the game now, but also, you know, how did I feel about it as a child, because that you know, that really does mean something for me, because that's when in most cases, not all, but in most cases, that's where the games in this listing will have originated. It was, you know, me playing them as a child, and then obviously the more I liked it as a child, I would typically then play more of it as I've grown up. But Ballistix is a bit different. Definitely would say that it's oh, hang on, it's a game that has grown on me over the years. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very good. Now, I've seen screenshots, never played it on an Amiga. I've seen screenshots of it. I think the Amiga version is possibly a bit smoother. The graphics are a little better, but obviously the Amiga was a more powerful machine. I've also read... Oh, this is interesting. Look, I can't fire past those barriers. That's a difference in this level. Yes, I've read that there was actually an Acorn Electron release of this as well, which I would have been quite interested to see, because obviously the Acorn Electron wasn't as powerful as the Beeb. So I'd be interested to know what Ballistix was like. If you've played it on an Acorn Electron, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of it on the Electron, and indeed what you thought of it on the Amiga, if you are a proud owner of an Amiga or an Atari ST. I have to say I never had either of those machines. Knew a few friends that did, but they weren't machines that I ever owned or really ever got a chance to play on in a big way. So yeah, I noticed that there was no difficulty setting for Ballistix. It just kind of, you just get what you're given, I think. Oh dear. Yeah, so it's clearly a game that sort of, I think each level just becomes slightly more sneaky. Oh yeah, it's quite. There's definitely sort of pinball element of it here, isn't it? Oh dear, no, we're stuck back in there again. Oh my goodness, it's got a lot faster as well. Hang on. I think it's got stuck in a groove. Yeah, now you've got to say, I mean, this has clearly been written in assembly, or at least I would imagine most of it's been written, if not all of it, in assembly. Because this is a speedy game. I mean, the speed that ball picks up when you start bapping it with your Ballistix is quite something. Oh, come on, come on. Oh, no, yes, no. Oh, wow, it's got so close, but come on. Oh, is it going to go in? We got it, we got it. No, just need to get it straight. Oh, oh dear. Really got stuck in a groove now. Oh, come on. Oh God, I'm going to end up scoring an own goal at this rate. Well, I suppose technically all goals in this are a form of an own goal, because you're playing against. Oh dear, you're playing against gravity at the end of the day. Okay, we're on 2-2. Can I score one more goal and get us past this level? Let's see. Another thing I've noticed is that there are letters dotted around the grid, and I think if you collect the letters and spell out the word ricochet, which you can see starting to build up on the left-hand side there, it gives you some kind of bonus. I don't think I've ever actually collected all the letters in sequence. The problem with it is we don't have to collect them in sequence, but if you collect the same letter that you've already got, I think it nulls out the one that you'd previously collected. Hey, there we go. So yes, I don't know what happens if you actually get your full ricochet, because it's never actually happened to me. Oh my word. It's a good opener to the level. Equally, if anybody knows how you can make use of those passwords that you get each time you pass a level, do please leave me a comment, because I've not worked out how you actually use them. I've tried typing them in whilst playing. Oh dear, whilst playing the game, and yeah, I don't seem to have much luck. Now these arrows are clearly giving it an extra downward boost, aren't they? Look, you see if it gets stuck in. Yeah. Okay, that's affecting the giving it a slightly unnatural gravity boost. Oh, wow. 3-0. That was a shame. Game terminated. I like that. Well, there you go. That was Ballistix. That went on for actually a bit longer than I was expecting it to. So not a bad gameplay, if I do say so myself. Hope you enjoyed that. I think Ballistix is it's a great game. Definitely deserves to be in this countdown. And actually, I think if I had only played this as an adult, I would have probably scored it quite a bit higher in the rankings. It's a very well put together game. It plays really well. The physics in it, I think, are great, and that graphics, the graphics, the artwork, and everything else that goes with it. I think if it just had a bit of extra music too, that might even have also pushed it up just a few extra places. Anyway, that's Ballistix. We're going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you next time, hopefully, if you'll join me for game number 73. Until then, goodbye.